Between nations, where borders bleed and histories clash, the most dangerous ideas are born, not just because they challenge old orders, but because they shake foundations so hard, they force everyone to wake up from their comfortable illusions. Most people don't even see it coming. They live inside narratives boxed tightly by geography, culture, and politics, thinking they know what's true and what's real. Yet the raw, explosive ideas that could rewrite everything come from the space in between, where no one wants to look, where discomfort reigns, where difference rubs against difference and sparks fly. That space is dangerous because it refuses to play by the rules anyone's made. It's a battlefield, a forge, a wild garden, and the trouble is, it's exactly the trouble the old world fears most. Feel this right now. What's a bigger pain than living a life scripted for you by the comfort of your borders? Feeling caged by labels and roles that do nothing but shrink your world. Investors stuck chasing the next big, safe idea. Founders suffocating under the weight of systems that reward playing small and discourage burning bright. Professionals married to their titles, afraid to break free, to challenge the agreed truths. Leaders who want to change the game but find their power constantly diluted by the rules others set. This, this frustration, this gnawing sense of being trapped, is your real enemy. It's the problem no corporate handbook or politician's speech can fix. Here's the truth nobody wants to admit. The ideas that truly disrupt, that genuinely shake the foundations, aren't born inside the neat walls of any one nation or culture. They emerge at the crossroads, in the cracks and fissures societies try to plaster over. They come from the friction between worlds, from those wild collisions where old beliefs crumble and new visions fight to be seen. The space between nations is where contradictions meet, freedom and control, tradition and innovation, fear and courage. And those contradictions ignite the fires of transformation. The world, the systems it's built, those are like tangled webs spun to hold grips on power, to keep brilliance muted and rebellion tamed. They say you're free, but leash you with invisible chains made of comfort and conformity. They promise equality, but drown originality in mediocrity. They sell progress, but kill the spark of real change with their endless cycles of sameness. Why? Because they are terrified of the individuals who rise beyond what's expected, those who refuse to live a borrowed life, who burn instead of bend. They want the world safe, predictable, manageable, and that means no room for the dangerous ideas born between nations. But here's the edge, the place where solutions hide, where real power waits. If those dangerous ideas scare the system, that's exactly why they need to be embraced. Not by clinging harder to one flag or another, but by stepping beyond flags altogether. The future belongs to those who refuse to serve any nation's old script. The founders who don't just create companies but ignite movements. The investors who don't chase trends but fuel revolutions of thought. The leaders who don't just manage but inspire transformation. These are the few who make dangerous ideas real, and in doing so, remake the world. To tap into this power requires more than courage. It demands rejection of every comforting lie we've been sold about identity, loyalty, and belonging. You must step away from the crowd's noise and choose the difficult path of being misunderstood, misaligned, even isolated. Because that's where the rare meet and the real magic happens. It's about connection, but not just any connection. It's about finding the few who burn with the same relentless fire, whose brilliance complements yours instead of drowns it out. This isn't about building a community or scaling a network. It's about creating an ecosystem of the exceptional, where difference isn't a barrier, but the very fuel for synergy. Think about this. The world has no infrastructure for exceptional, no ready-made stage for those who break the mold. Schools say follow the rules. Businesses say fit the mold. Governments say stay in your lane. So the best ideas and the best people are scattered, isolated, wasted potential locked behind walls of misunderstanding. This is the silent tragedy beneath the world you see every day. The solution? Building a new kind of structure. One that connects the rare, the disruptive, the unwilling to settle for less. This structure doesn't erase difference. It thrives on it. Through radical alignment, not blind conformity, transformation happens. How do you break free? You start by refusing to be just another player in a boxed game. Question everything, even the rules you believe protect you. Your will is your weapon. Sovereignty over your mind and choices is non negotiable. No compromises that steal your fire. No alliances that dilute your purpose. Be patient, because the rare games are long games. The future is crafted by those who endure the silence, the loneliness, who hunger not for belonging, but for becoming. Imagine what happens when investors link arms with founders who refuse to make safe bets. When professionals join forces with visionaries who think beyond borders. When leaders break free from the comfort of consensus to forge paths uncharted. That network, a web woven from fire and difference, becomes unstoppable. New ideas are no longer just whispers or fringe rebellions. They grow into revolutions that reshape markets, societies, reality itself. Dangerous ideas are feared because they expose the reality the world hides. That freedom is an illusion offered at a price, that progress stops at the center, and that true power lives not in systems, but in individuals who refuse submission. The danger is real, but so is the opportunity. This is where the revolution starts, not by fighting for nations, but by rising above them, not by adding more noise, but by amplifying essence, not by seeking approval, but by owning your narrative. If this festers inside, that quiet ache, that restless urge not to settle, not to be just another face in the crowd, know this is your call, not to wait for permission, not to ask for a safe place, but to claim your space beyond borders, to find your spark in the fire between nations, to connect with those who burn as fiercely as you do, and to create a force so powerful it can't be ignored. Together, the rare become leaders, not just of companies or countries, but of a new world order where individuality is the foundation and connection is the superpower. The world is waiting, not for leaders who serve old flags, but for those who forge new paths beyond flags, waiting for those brave enough to take the dangerous ideas born between nations and transform them into the fuel for the future. That future doesn't belong to the comfortable, the compliant, or the critics. It belongs to the few who refuse to live a borrowed life, who choose fire over comfort, who see past illusions and unwrap the power of real freedom. Now hold on to that tension inside. Let it grow. Let it burn. Because this isn't just a moment. It's a movement. A call to the rare, the radical, those who know their true power lies not in where they come from, but in where they dare to go. The dangerous ideas born between nations are the lanterns leading out of the darkness of old systems, and the future waits for those who pick them up and run with them, unstoppable, unchained, and unafraid.